Dave Chappelle did nothing wrong. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the continued LGBTQ fallout from the Dave Chappelle Netflix special called The Closer. Now, I did a video about that, and I was talking about how a lot of LGBT organizations, they're upset. GLAAD put out a statement. Netflix's LGBT, I guess you would say, wing, they said something talking about this week sucks. We've not really been here posting. This is kind of a hard time for LGBT and trans people of color, artists and that. It's been a whole big thing, right? A lot of big name celebrities that came out and said things against Dave Chappelle. But I stand with Chappelle 100% because I don't care what you are, how you identify as. You can identify as a big piece of chicken. You can identify as a Nike flip-flop. You can identify as one of those ships out there in the harbor in LA that can't get on shore. You can identify as whatever you want to identify as. That's your business, your prerogative. Have at it. However, comedy is comedy. It doesn't discriminate. If you're LGBT, you can get these jokes. If you're straight, tall, small, skinny, fat, black, white, don't matter. Comedy is comedy, period. But some of the LGBTs, they don't like that too much, and they have kind of escalated their, I guess you would say, offensive against Dave Chappelle. So what they did first was barge into an executive meeting at Netflix. You know, it was a story online talking about these three trans people at Netflix got suspended for some stuff they put on Twitter. That wasn't true. I think one person put this 4-page letter on Twitter, and if I can find that, I'll link to it in the box. But they listed like a bunch of names of trans people of color that had gotten murdered. Now, I'm not really sure how Dave Chappelle's comedy, which quite frankly was an olive branch to the trans community, it wasn't even meant to hurt anybody, it's just comedy. But anyway, I'm not sure how Dave Chappelle's comedy would result in someone being murdered, okay? If you kill somebody based on a joke that someone tells, I mean, you had problems anyway. You were going to do that regardless of what's going on. Somebody could have gave you a teddy bear for Christmas and you would have killed somebody. That's kind of the mentality you got going on in your mind that make you go out there and do something like that after a comedy special. You understand? But I digress. So the person put a bunch of names of trans people of color, sex workers that had got killed, right? And that was the whole thing on Twitter. It kind of became something. But that's not what got that person or their friends suspended from Netflix. They barged into a meeting, like literally. There was 500 people in this executive meeting at Netflix, and they literally barged in there. I'm talking about like a bull in a china shop, a warthog on the beach. Just, you know, it's like, wait a minute, you can't do that now. I understand you want to have your protest against Dave Chappelle. You want to feel how you feel, and that's fine. I forget who it was about a statement. It might have been some top level person. I'm not sure if it was a CEO, but somebody put out a statement and saying, hey, Dave Chappelle has this right to express himself artistically. And you as an employee, if you're trans or you're straight or whatever it is, you do as well. You can voice your opinion. He has his opinion, and that's just it. It's freedom of speech, right? That's the American way. I can't say that you can't say what you want to say and the same thing back to me. Now, I could disagree with it and I can voice my disagreement, but that's all I can do. But as far as barging into a meeting, you know, screaming and screeching and carrying on, no. Look, this is $1 billion company. We're trying to get this bag. We're trying to secure the bag, as the cool kids say. You, sir, ma'am, whatever your gender pronouns are, you are in the way of us getting this bag, all right? You want to keep getting your salary. You want to keep getting paid your hourly rate or whatever it is. You want to keep living in your dog dad pad and Palo Alto. All right, bet. Well, check it out. I need you to go ahead and exit stage left, right? Go ahead and get up out of here. Do not barge into this executive meeting where we're trying to get this money to pay you and your allies. But I guess, you know, they didn't like that too much, the people that tried to barge in. So now they've done a little bit more. They're continuing to escalate. Now they've staged a walkout in protest of the Dave Chappelle special. That's going to be next Wednesday on October 20th. And it's not just the trans people, it's also their allies. So these guys that go out there, they may be straight, allegedly, wearing all this LGBT, positive stuff. The type of guy that would go to a gay pride parade, although he claims not to be gay, they'll be out there protesting Dave Chappelle. Now, my question is, what are you even trying to prove? What are you trying to accomplish? I mean, I'm not even really a fan of Netflix, quite frankly, because they got some really kind of gross programming. I mean, the only reason why I'm even talking about Netflix in some kind of way positive is because they allowed Dave Chappelle to have his special and not get canceled because of the LGBTs. But they got some problems. They are too inclusive. And I think, you know what? I just kind of came to revelation. It just kind of came to me right now. It was like the light bulb just turned on. Just blink. It just hit me. I think the over pandering, the over representation of certain groups is what has caused the current problem. Go to Netflix right now. It's a bunch of LGBTQ LMNOP programming. Remember that show called Cuties, the worst thing in the world? Stuff like that is on there. And you got a lot of employees that think it's okay to have stuff like that on there. So when you have that kind of culture, that kind of environment, and then you bring on Dave Chappelle saying how all that stuff is kind of crazy or anything close to criticizing that kind of content and that kind of behavior anywhere. He didn't even really do that, really. But if you come close to criticizing it now, they want to get him out of there because they feel like Netflix is LGBT flicks when it's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be content that people want irrespective of a certain cultural preference. But I think that it proves that multiculturalism is not really going to work, not in the long run. It can work for a brief period of time, but when you allow all these different kind of cultures in, countercultures, subcultures, American, European, Asian, at a certain point where you have all this stuff there on the platform and the employees are kind of having their own little subcultures, it creates a problem. I'm pretty sure Netflix is in California, and who are you going to get to work there? What's going to be the workforce that is going to be driven to a place like California, that'd be driven to a Netflix, LGBT flicks, or whatever they want to call themselves? You're going to have this kind of stuff that goes on. So you may have a squad of 20 LGBTs and trans and allies who walk out against Dave Chappelle. But I don't see Netflix bending or folding on this. I think Netflix would rather eliminate their LGBT content than eliminating Dave Chappelle. Because you're talking about someone that's going to drive subscriptions. I don't think some of their obscure gay programming is going to outperform the Chappelle specials as far as generating new subscriptions. Again, I subscribe to Netflix only to watch the Dave Chappelle special, and I'm canceling it as soon as I get a free moment. I have no intention to watch anything else on the platform, period. That's the only reason why I'm there. And I think Netflix banks on that. They understand that, and they hope that I don't cancel my subscription before it lapses and renews automatically. So they get that 13, 14, or whatever kind of money they're going to get from my account. And they want to get that consistently. They hope that I stay on for like 6 months to a year. So they get 100 beans out of me pretty easy. Rather than be worrying about their employees who don't like Dave Chappelle, they see dollar signs. But I think their pursuit of dollar signs has to be a little bit better as far as what they allow on the platform. And I ain't talking about Dave Chappelle. You want Dave Chappelle on there, but if you're going to have Dave Chappelle on there, then some of your other programming may not need to be there, and some of your employees may not need to be there. We have a lot of openings for jobs all over the country, and I presume that Netflix is not going to be a low-paid job. So, hey, if you having employment issues and you need to go to Netflix, I would say get your cover letter, your resume, all that good stuff. If you can stomach all the weird programming they got, hey, it's money to be made. I would advise Netflix, go ahead and get rid of them. If they want to walk out, they want to protest, all right, bye. You want to leave out for a day, but you're not getting paid for that day. How about that? I'll put you a 1099 contractor. Ain't gonna be no benefits or nothing like that. How you love that? So walk out of your own house and protest that. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the walkout of the trans people and their allies, and also about the barging into the meeting of 500 Netflix executives? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at with it. I say rock on, Dave Chappelle. Keep doing your thing because you are a comedian. That's your job, yes? Don't let anyone bully you into not telling jokes about them. Dave Chappelle is not the kind of guy that is a racist or homophobic person or any other obic ober is. He's joked on everybody, black, white, gay, straight, skinny, fat. It don't matter. It's just comedy. It's just comedy. And I think once we could put all these labels and all these, triggers to the side and just enjoy the comedy, we'd be better off as a nation, quite frankly. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.